it's not that it doesn't happen, and it's not that most of us don't do it. It's like, man, when you look at it, it gets really out of control. And when it's taxpayer dollars, there should be some more oversight. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Vacation Rental Revolution podcast. I'm your host, Shawn Moore. We're back with Whiskey Wednesday. What's up, brother?
Hey, buddy. How
you ready to go?
I'm ready.
My main man, Dave Sivulich, he's got our topics. We got producer Jake in here. We got questions. You guys on Whiskey Wednesday, you guys know we do shows within the show. Whiskey Wednesday is when we talk about current events, topics that are going on, things in our world. We're going to answer some questions that you guys send in, my favorite part of the show. So as a reminder, send those questions in to support@vodacy.com or put them in the comments on whatever platform you're watching or listening on, and we'll make sure we get those as well and bring them on to an upcoming episode. So today we're just we're off the Super Bowl, buddy. What do we have on the agenda today?
Super Bowl. I don't know. Was it a shock? Do you think for?
Oh, I think it was a big shock. Yeah. I think we've been throwing a lot of shade on Kansas City.
Yeah.
Now I kind of started feeling bad. Not fully feeling bad, but like I started feeling bad because our buddy Jeff Weaver was a huge Kansas City fan, and man, that was a tough game to watch.
Quarter, he texted us and said, "All right, guys,
he just sent over the money. He said, "I'll walk out of this graciously," and I'm out.
He said, "What's your Venmo?" He wasn't even messing around. It was like third quarter.
Wasn't even messing around. No, it was. I think that was a shock. I think that Philly's been playing awesome, but that was a beat down.
Right. I wasn't as surprised. At the end of the game, if you'd have said it was a close game and Philadelphia won, that wouldn't have shocked me as bad as, it was literally a blowout.
It was just dominating from
everything,
from
both sides,
the
offense
kickoff
and defense and everything. And I know it was the dominating side from the Eagles, but Kansas City played really bad, so they didn't even help themselves either.
Kansas City is and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and those guys are known for their prolific offense. And man, that defensive front for Philadelphia, man, I heard the announcer say they didn't even blitz once. They were just rushing a 4-man front and just dominating.
Did you see the average size of their linemen?
Love it. Yeah.
It was 6'6".
Yeah.
And
345.
Almost 350. Are you kidding me? Remember when Refrigerator Perry was the first 300 pounder in the NFL? And he was like, whoa, this guy's like the biggest.
He was huge.
Now everybody's 350 pounds.
Yeah. You see that graphic in the middle of the game? They showed like the Super Bowl one average size of the offensive lineman was 245. In Super Bowl one, Green Bay's offensive lineman was 245. Now this year's the Philadelphia Eagles average was 345. I was like, woo.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Big boys, but they did their job up front. They were that was the difference in the game, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Kansas City seemed to focus strictly on Saquon Barkley and really, contained him, but didn't contain anything else.
No.
So
Hurt played great.
Yeah,
they were awesome.
I like I said, I kind of started feeling bad because we've been, one, we said it's not a top 25 places to visit. And then Jeff calls it out on that because of the Chiefs and their run, the dynasty they've got built. And then, man, they got beat down. So I'm a Bronco fan, so I don't really feel too bad.
Hey, what about – so I was thinking this last night. What the legacy now of Kansas City and, Mahomes and all that stuff. What do you
they bounce back.
I know, obviously it taints it a little bit. Like, when you compare Brady and 7 championships and all that stuff. And
Brady lost 3.
He's got a lot of time left, but it'll be interesting to see.
He's still young. He's still one of the best. You and I play sports. There's some days are good, some days are bad, right? This doesn't I don't think this takes away anything that he or that the Chiefs have done. Right. They still are an absolutely dominant team.
And he's proved in big games, so it's not like there's no question. But there's those they're out there. They're gonna be like, oh wow, he's not that.
I'm not jumping on that bandwagon.
He's dang good.
Yeah. I'm not there. Yeah. So
we had a big party last night.
Yeah.
We ate too much food, way too much.
I think a lot of people probably did.
We had the whole ping pong table with the tablecloth on it.
You guys do a whole neighborhood party, everything.
It was full of stuff, dude. And the problem is when you do that, when you have dinner on a Sunday night, you have dinner, and then maybe you have a cookie or something later for dessert. Like when it's out there, it's like 4.5 hours. Like I just kept eating. Like I wasn't even hungry.
Yeah.
Every time I walked by the table, I just grabbed something else, and I'm like, dude, come on, like this is ridiculous.
Yeah. My brother-in-law, he said, hey, we're having a big party. Come on over, and it starts at 1. And I'm like, you think I'm coming over for a party from 1 o'clock till 9 o'clock? I'm like, not a chance. I'm not eating and drinking all day long. So we kept it pretty calm. It was just the four of us, Teresa and the kids. And,
Good.
Cooked a nice little tri-tip up. We were done with the game by halftime. I was like, okay, well, let's go get in the hot tub and call it a day because it was over.
It was over. Yeah. So what about the halftime show? Listen, I didn't even know this cat that was singing.
Yeah, Kendrick Lamar. I don't know who he is either.
But I'm
not a good judge of the halftime show.
And I asked my kids, I'm like, you know this guy? And they're like, yeah, we know him. And they were like, turn this up. So we had to turn the speakers up as loud as we could. And dude, they loved it. And
really?
I actually liked it too.
Did you?
I liked it. It was pretty patriotic, red, white, and blue in there. I'm surprised. I'm like, wow. And I actually kind of enjoyed it. I don't know.
Yeah. So, I listened to a little bit of it. I couldn't understand what he was saying. So I was like, well.
He did say, did you notice he says, John Stockton?
Yeah, I didn't.
He did say
John Stockton. I didn't hear anything else.
Bro, I'm like, are you kidding me? He just said John Stockton. That flip, dude. That guy's the man.
Yeah.
Well, so
yeah. I'm not a good judge of this halftime show because one, I don't know who he is. I'm a country music guy. And so I'm not the best. I'm not going to be the best judge on whether it was good or bad. I mean, it sounds like your kids enjoyed it. You enjoyed it. I didn't. I watched it for a minute and I wasn't following it. So I went and ate dinner.
I will say, it's impressive that somebody can go on for 20 minutes and literally rap and like. That's pretty
entertaining.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. So anyway, so that's good. What about your favorite commercial?
You know what? I didn't watch many commercials this year. I was kind of doing other stuff. I was watching the game, and then when the game was on, I didn't really. There's no real commercial that stood out. I mean, normally I'm really paying attention to the commercials. I really didn't watch a lot of them. How about you?
Well, I kind of feel the same. I used to love like the Budweisers and the Pepsis and all those great commercials they used to have on there, and I just think they don't have them like they used to. I did. The one, there was a Stella beer commercial that was David Beckham that I thought was kind of creative and kind of fun with Matt Damon was his twin brother.
I saw that one.
Over in the U.S. They ended up meeting each other and they were like trying to figure out like similarities. And Matt Damon kicked the football like a mile long and he was like, start questioning. Then when they both pulled out a Stella, they were like, yeah, they were brothers. So anyways, it was kind of, it was that because,
I saw them both on there, but I didn't really watch the commercial. I didn't take in a lot of the commercials.
I don't think they're really brothers. Do you?
Beckham and Matt Damon? Come on. I thought that was a serious question for a minute.
Okay.
You got me for a minute because I'm like,
I don't think they are either.
Okay.
So, big week this week for Valentines.
Hey, I see on the notes my correction.
Oh, free.
Dude, we totally screwed up last week. I was trying to flex my muscles, act like I knew all kinds of stuff about Utah Outlaws, and I
threw out Billy the Kid,
and it threw me off.
Yep,
threw you off. I said, oh yeah, Billy the Kid, the Gentleman Outlaw, down in Southern Utah. Well, that's Butch Cassidy, not Billy the Kid.
Yeah.
So correction, we were right after we were done. I was like, oh man, I totally screwed that one up.
So all you haters out there that were making fun of us all week.
Yeah, we did screw that one up.
And we will,
Butch Cassidy is
mistakes.
Butch Cassidy, Sundance Kid, Wild Bunch. We got all the rest of it right. We just didn't. We replaced Butch Cassidy with Billy the Kid.
We get 99.5% of the things right, and that was the 0.5 we didn't.
Yeah. Well,
so we come back and say we're sorry.
Yeah, we screwed that one up. Yeah. So those of you that are. The outlaw historians out there, it was probably driving you nuts all week. Yeah. So there you go.
Hopefully you listen to this one to correct it. So So Valentine's this Friday.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Valentine's guy.
Really?
I don't know. I think it's just kind of I think it's a marketing holiday. I mean,
you seem like a guy that would you seem like a romantic. Like I feel like Valentine's would be your deal, dude.
No, I'm not. I mean, I still celebrate it. I mean, we try to go to dinner and but I don't know. I'm not a huge Valentine's guy.
Yeah, that surprises me. I would have thought that you were a Valentine's guy. Yeah, I'm super romantic. What are you talking about? I'm probably the most more romantic guy you know.
Hell, yeah.
We do like a full.
We might have to correct that next week.
Well, ask Teresa how Valentine's went. So we always do like a big event on Valentine's. I always do something. When they were a lot spicier without the kids because now with the kids we just do a Valentine's Day with all of us. So
and that's the same. I think that's good. We're having the family over. I think Sunday night we're gonna do something special for dinner that we don't typically do, a fondue or something that's kind of fun.
Yeah, fondue's fun.
Yeah,
that's fun. You have them over. Yeah, we usually get. I usually have a limo show up at the house, pick us all up, and then we jump in and head down to Salt Lake. I don't like going to Salt Lake, but Teresa and the kids do. So we'll go somewhere down there and hang out for the day and dress all up, and it's fun. You know.
Any, I guess when you have kids and it's kind of hard, but no discreet packages coming up.
No, I don't have any. Nope. It's the old oversized T-shirts, and you know.
That's right. Yeah.
We'll just call it a night after we're done.
What about you, Jake? You a romantic Valentine's guy?
I feel like it's almost required. You kind of have to do it.
You have to at your age.
Yeah, you have to.
I mean,
you're still in the courting stage.
He's dating. He's not married yet. No kids. You have no excuse, bro.
Yeah, I know.
You got any plans you want to tell? I mean, I don't know if Nicole listens to this. I don't want to break the news.
Well, I mean, we're going out to dinner. That's for sure.
All right.
You got to go out to dinner, but then you're just buying stuff, man.
Yeah.
Flowers, chocolates, random stuff.
Yeah,
nice.
there you go.
Yeah. See, I think this guy. We can learn something from Jake.
We'll have to.
I'm gonna talk to him after.
Hey, yeah, you two need to talk.
Whatever you get, just double it up for the big D. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
Grab some extra chocolates and some flowers.
Yeah.
Kelly will know that's not from you.
Yeah, just say, how'd you get these? Well, Jake bought some for Nicole, so I got some too.
Yeah, I'm gonna text Kelly. I'm sorry in advance because Dave said he doesn't like Valentine's.
I'm gonna step it up, dude. Seriously,
all right.
This year.
Hey, we'll talk next week. Let's see if you did.
All right. USAID spending. Boy, that's been in the news this last week.
Ooh.
I don't know.
I love it.
It's
he's shaking things up. Some people
it's really, we talked about it a little bit, offline this last week when we were together. By the way, we went to the PBR.
Oh man,
that
that's
was
what
awesome.
we should have talked about. Dang.
That was awesome, right?
That's sweet. I love PBR.
I mean, those guys are tough suckers to jump on those bulls. Like, that's ridiculous how crazy that is.
We were there. I mean, you watch these guys. I mean, they're getting knocked out. They're laying on the ground. They get stepped on by a 2,000-pound bull, and they jump back up. Like, they dust themselves off. They're hurt.
Yeah.
Like Kelly was saying, she's like, man, we watch any other sport.
Oh.
They're bringing the stretchers out. Yep. They're stopping the game for an hour. I mean, these guys are just like, dude, you all right? Get out of the way. This other bull's coming out.
They're like walking on. One guy was like, he was staggering back and forth. I mean, definitely had a concussion. They were like, oh, he's fine. He'll be fine.
He'll get on later tonight.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Those guys are tough guys.
There's no concussion protocol in Pro Bowl riding.
No.
I mean, there's not.
I think the other sports
there should be.
Come watch bull riders and say, hey, this is how you, soccer, football, basketball. You guys come watch us and say, this is how you walk off the field. Court.
If you're, and they can't. Some of them can't walk off. They literally remember. One guy, they've got guys on both of his arms just to keep him upright.
Yeah.
And he's like, if they let go of him, he's falling back down.
Round 2, he's back on the bull.
He's getting back on.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So this, but we were talking about it on the way down there, and this USAID is like, some of the amounts of money is ridiculous. One. But the money that they're spending him on it's kind of a travesty. I just can't think that any American citizen taxpayer would want their taxes going to stuff like this and stuff like this outside of the country. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I can't even. And obviously they don't know. So that's
right.
That's why they're not too mad, is because they don't even know that it's going over there. But we're exposing it seems like.
Well, that's the thing. Like, he's just, I mean, the list is getting longer and longer, but some of them, like $50 million to condoms in Gaza. Really? We're spending $50 million sending over condoms to Gaza. Yeah. That's ridiculous. Look at all the DEI in other countries.
$70,000 for production of a DEI musical in Ireland. Yeah. $47,000 on a transgender opera in Colombia. $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru.
Yeah, look at the rest of, Ireland, Colombia, Peru. These aren't aid organizations, right? If we're sending aid over, make the argument that these countries need the aid. These are pretty ridiculous, $1.5 million to promote LGBT advocacy in Jamaica. I mean, I'm glad they're doing it. They're going line by line, and some people are upset about it. They're $2 million USAID did for sex changes in Guatemala. $20 million to produce new Sesame Street show in Iraq.
Dude,
I mean, we have a lot of people here in the U.S. that we should take care of, and I'm all for the America First movement and figuring this out. Now, all this being said, this is the start of, this is a lot of the low-hanging fruit. This is what they want us to know about it. There's some stuff in there in the USAID stuff that AID, I don't know if it's USAID or USAID, that maybe is a good thing but it gets out of control. Like
Right.
even like I saw Chelsea Clinton gets like, and the numbers are way off. Like don't quote me on the numbers, but let's say 20 million for her operation that funds and she feeds poor people in another country, right? And so, but the issue is Chelsea's worth $70 million. She gets all this money from USAID, and then she feeds the poor people. The problem is she's spending $1,100 per meal on each of these kids' meals. You don't need to spend $1,100 a meal. So all that money, the cost of those meals, like, because they just took how much does she get, how many meals were delivered, it ends up being like $1,100 and change on a meal. And that's where it's like, okay, well, who's siphoning off the top, and how are we getting paid? And that's where a lot of this stuff is just getting crazy.
Yeah, bureaucracy off the top,
Right.
and
Skimming
paperwork and travel and all that kind of stuff.
But listen, we're investors, we're business owners, like all of us as people, like, there's that's that new app, Rocket Money or something. You see advertisements all the time. Like we all subscribe to stuff and then you pay for stuff you shouldn't be paying for, right? This is just that on steroids with all the U.S. taxpayer dollars that somebody decided to start spending on these programs, and they get all this money in the budgets and it just starts to filter out and you're like, holy crap, this is adding up to be a lot.
Right.
And the same happens if you went line by line item in every business. You have a lot of wasteful spending, and you have a lot. Look at your personal expenses. So it's not that it doesn't happen, and it's not that most of us don't do it. It's like, man, when you look at it, it gets really out of control. And when it's taxpayer dollars, there should be some more oversight on it.
Right. Hopefully they get it, figured out, and
Hey,
get it right.
I think they are. I think there's some people that are a little upset about what's going on, and some people that are real happy, myself included.
I like it.
There we go.
All right, well, let's jump into some short-term rental questions.
Okay.
Your favorite part of the show.
Yes.
We get these from folks inside of our community, as well as listeners. Email them into support@vodacy.com. So if you have any questions and you want us to kind of address them or ask or answer them, send them in to us. First one here is, should we have dog-friendly STRs? And if so, should we provide amenities and things for dogs to make it easier for, pet owners who are going to stay at our properties?
Yeah. So one, we've talked about this a couple times on the show, it is one of the quickest ways to actually give a little bit of a lift in your occupancy and your nightly rates. And so if you are in a position and you're like, hey, listen, we can open our doors up and be pet friendly, dog friendly. That's typically when they're pet friendly. They're typically, you can say, hey, listen, we only accept dogs. We accept different types of animals, cats, whatever. Most of them are dog friendly. And you can eliminate a lot of competition really, really quick in a lot of saturated markets, where even in some of the most dog friendly markets, you might only find half of the properties on the market that allow dogs. Mm-hmm. And so if you can do one thing and eliminate 50% of your competition right out of the gate, as a business owner, as an investor, it's something to think about, right? And so then we look and say, okay, what is the wear and tear going to be on my property? And I typically look for, what is the outside environment like? If I am in the mountains and the dogs are going out and jumping in the lake and they're running through the mud and then coming in our property in a cabin in that type of environment, we're not as likely to be dog friendly, because the wear and tear on my property is going to be too high. But if we are in an area where there's grass outside or concrete and they can go out and the dogs can go in and out and they don't get super dirty and they're not bringing the outside environment into my house, then I'm really likely to be dog friendly, right? Mm-hmm. Because one, you can charge more money. Two, you eliminate a lot of your competition. Three, you're going to charge them extra on the cleaning. So you're going to do extra cleaning on it anyways. And anybody that's been in this business very long, if you've ever had a family-friendly property that hosts, families with a lot of kids and bunk beds and everything else, you will realize that the kids are way harder on that property than dogs ever will be. And so if you're okay with a bunch of kids in the house, then you ought to consider dogs too, because they're not that hard. Now, when it comes to extra amenities, kennels, feeding stations, all that stuff, absolutely you want to do that. One, for a selfish reason, is if you provide that stuff, your guests will use it. And so if you provide dog beds and kennels and things like that, they will actually use those for their dogs. And it helps them. It helps the dogs go into an area of a home that you would like them to be in, right? Designate a certain spot in the home where that stuff should take place. Naturally, the guest will do that and they will use it. If that's not there, then they kind of choose where they're going to do it. Right. In their house, they might have them in the living room. Somebody else's house might have them in the kitchen. Somebody else's house might have them in the bedroom. But if you designate, hey, listen, all of our dog stuff is in the laundry room or the kitchen area where it's tile, they will naturally go there. But if you don't provide that, they're going to put it where they naturally have it in their own home. And sometimes that's in your bedrooms. Sometimes that's in areas you don't necessarily want a whole bunch of dogs or, or pets. And so, if you're going to do it, think about, run the numbers and look, you can identify this stuff very, very easily on how many of your competitors are offering pet friendly properties. And, and sometimes you're in a situation where, you can eliminate 80-90% of the competition, and it is absolutely something to think about.
Good. All right. Next question. So, when we put together our listing for our short-term rental, we typically put it on Airbnb or VRBO. Should we have our own booking website? Should we have our own website for our short-term rental?
Yeah. Well, the answer is unequivocally yes.
Okay.
You should understand direct bookings. You should be building your own business on your own platform that you own outside of the OTAs. The OTAs change all the time. A very recent change with Vrbo is they just upped their fees up to 9% of booking fees. So charging the guests, and it's affecting a lot of people right now. Started in February of 2025, and Vrbo is, tacked on a lot of extra fees, and a lot of hosts are saying it's already affecting their bookings because guests are saying, hey, listen, we're not paying those extra fees, and so we're going to go try to book it somewhere else. Right. And if you're relying on these OTAs now, the OTAs are amazing, right? You have to run down these roads parallel. It's not an either or for most investors, especially in the beginning. The Airbnb, Vrbo, they have millions of eyeballs. So you want to be able to leverage those eyeballs with your property and hopefully get some bookings. If you do, you're going to be paying fees. And sometimes those fees raise and they go up like they did just now with Vrbo. And so, but at the same time, you should be creating your own booking platform for a number of different reasons. One, to not be subject to all those fees and the rules and the regulations. When you have your own booking platform, you make the rules, right? You decide what your policies are. You decide what refund policies are. You decide what the guest rules are going to be. And because you're building your own platform. Now, the drawback is you don't have millions of eyeballs on your website. And if you build a website and throw it on the web, there's no guarantee you're going to get bookings. And so you have to really develop a skill set of a marketer. It's something we preach here at Odyssey. It's one of our 9 steps that we have, within our acquisition, marketing, or management and marketing phase. It's the final step in marketing and really maximizing your asset is building that direct booking platform, both website, your CRM on the back end, so you can stay top of mind with these people, get those people to come back and book your property, but also just be able to nurture and create a contact list that ultimately, after a couple of years of doing this, then you will have the option to say, do I even need to be on these OTAs, right? Which is nice.
Yeah, good. Okay, I like that explanation. Is having a property with an HOA more difficult or worth it? So I think a lot of times somebody's buying a short-term rental and they're a little bit concerned about the HOA. Should that discourage them from buying that property within or without an HOA?
Yeah, you should be concerned about the HOA and you should look into the HOA. It doesn't mean that the HOA is a bad thing, though. The HOAs can be really, really beneficial. Typically, when you go into a property or a complex or a development with a HOA, sometimes those HOAs and sometimes those developments have a lot of amenities and they've got a lot of extra things for your guests to enjoy. And, we've got a property that is in an HOA with a lot of amenities and pools and pickleball courts and bike trails and golf course and all that kind of stuff, right? And so sometimes HOAs come, and many times, with additional amenities. That can be a really good thing for your short-term rental. However, they also come with rules and regulations. And so it's one of the very first things you want to read through is, one, is this HOA short-term rental friendly? And if they are short-term rental friendly, what are the rules and the regulations, right? We are in one that is very short-term rental friendly. However, they have very specific rules on management. Right. We don't have a lot of options when it comes to management, right? And so we have to navigate those rules and regulations on the front end. But many times HOAs can be a really, really good thing. They keep the area and the neighborhood and the development up
safe
to
and clean.
Clean and up to, you're not going to have, a lot of people parking on the lawns and everything else. And everybody's going to be following the same rules. And so the development stays really upkept and looking nice. Other times they have that in addition to a lot of amenities, right? And things that your guests can enjoy, whether it's gyms and pools and hiking trails and biking trails and pickleball courts, tennis courts, whatever, right? All those different amenities that you pitch in as an HOA, and your guests can enjoy those amenities.
Okay, my man, thanks for that insight. The one thing that I tell people is take a look at what the cost is for the HOA and what you're getting for that cost. And if it's, the price is right and the amenities are great and the services are good, it's a good thing to have an
And
HOA.
the rules are favorable.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it can be a really good thing.
Like you said, our St. George property is great. We love the HOA. It's not that expensive, and they do a good job. So, All right, buddy. Well, let's close out for today.
Wrap it up.
Good job.
We've had some technical issues, so you guys are going to be seeing this chopped up edit
Little
version. So
chop
we'll
city,
we'll figure this out. So, guys, as always, we appreciate you joining us. We know how valuable your time is, and we appreciate you spending it with us. At the end of these episodes, I ask you 2 favors. The first one is, if you like this show and you know somebody else that might like it, share it. And whatever platform you're watching or listening on, give us a thumbs up and review it if you have more than 30 seconds. And the final, most important thing I ask you at the end of every episode, pick that one thing you can do today, start building that life you don't want to take a vacation from. Cheers, my friends. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, buddy.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Vacation Rental Revolution podcast. Share this with other people you think need to hear about it. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. Hey Grace, is there a website?
Yes! For more amazing content and expert advice, visit Vodacy.com.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.